Hi, my name is Natalie Pitrago, and my biology role model project is on Dr. Sarah Tishkoff. Growing up, her parents were both professors. Her dad did lots of research, work on oncology and hematology, and frequently taught in medical schools. Her mother was a history professor at the Oregon Institute of Technology, the school located in her hometown of Klamath Falls, Oregon, a smaller college town of about 15,000 people. In high school, she was a great, well-rounded student that succeeded in all subjects. While she did well in biology and other STEM courses, she didn't have an inkling to pursue a career in the field yet. She received her undergraduate degree in both anthropology and genetics at UC Berkeley. At Berkeley, she fell in love with the philosophical idea of what is it to be human? What makes us different? She found a research lab where they were analyzing and comparing proteins found in chimpanzees and humans. She thought it was just the coolest thing, and she was determined to learn more and explore. She received her master's and PhD at Yale University, and she is now the David and Lynn Silfen Professor in the Department of Genetics and Biology at the University of Pennsylvania. A challenge that she's overcome in her career is being a woman in the scientific field. Even 30 years ago, there was still some discrimination present. Hobbies and community involvement. Here are a few photos from her X account. She loves to get out and support the Philadelphia sports teams. Here she is at a Phillies game. She was out watching the solar eclipse this past April. Here's another photo of her dropping her ballot off for the 2024 general election. And in her post, she was talking about the importance of civic engagement. Here she is lobbying at the U.S. Capitol building for more funding for the National Institute of Health, commonly known as the NIH. Because I am also a woman interested in science, I really look up to her as a role model and someone I'm inspired to be like. She is an active member of the Association for Women in Science, a group that promotes women in STEM careers. I also admire that most of her work is focused on bettering the lives of people. She is fascinated by human genetics and how we can analyze them to figure out the reasons and potential cures for diseases, especially those of African descent who are historically underrepresented in scientific research. This project was focused on the genetic diversity and structure of both Africans and African Americans. It's discussing the correlation between genetic variation and geographic and linguistic differences. The lab used something called TESS, which stands for Transcription Element Search Software. This allowed them to see how different populations are spaced out and based on genetics. The circles can show how some areas are genetically similar to one another. They used another method called Structure, which is another software that helps analyze genetic data, especially populations. It's used to study genetic relationships between individuals and their populations. Using the software, they were able to identify 14 distinct ancestral groups. They observed how the groups matched up with where people live and the languages they spoke. This showed that genetics often align with both ethnic and language groups. The image from the study shows the percentages of genetic backgrounds, which highlights the connection between the language a group speaks, where a group is from, and what a group's genetic makeup is. To sum it up, this figure really showed how diverse African populations are. She continues to work further on African genetics and dive deeper into the history and environments that may have caused the expression of certain genes. For example, in a past hunting and gathering environment, maybe it was adaptive to have a rapid increase in insulin, but with today's environment, it's now maladaptive, or not a great trait to have, and leads to higher rates of diabetes. If we discover the reasoning behind this increase of disease in those of African descent, we can find ways to mitigate them. To finish this video, I selected to research Dr. Sarah Tishkoff because of her fascinating work and her motivation behind it. I find it incredibly powerful when people dedicate their entire career to researching how we can improve the health of everyone on Earth, especially groups of people who aren't as well represented in data as others. I feel that her work will be inspiring to many future geneticists and will eventually be the foundation for lots of cutting-edge research and discoveries. Thank you for watching.